And so I kind of have to be backstage, which is like its own weird little prison in a sense.
You ever
Even
do that? Like we just put like a ski mask on and just go into the crowd and just start robbing people. No, but just enjoy yourself out there.
groping people, just running through the mosh pit, grabbing.
But there you go. Because I know that like every once in a while it'll be like you'll see Coachella, and it'll be like Frank Ocean was out in the crowd. Then they show what he was wearing when he was in the crowd, and it's always like head to toe shit. Nobody really knows.
Right.
Or does that really not do anything for you?
That's the cool thing about the mask wave, the mask era, is because
yeah.
I heard that Eminem was like riding his bike with a full ninja mask on around in the hoods in Detroit, finally getting to do something that realistically he had not been able to do in like 20 years due to his fame, and that he was loving the freedom that he was feeling from that.
Yeah.
Now I hope that he's not still doing that, given that he's talked about it, because
Well, now
Eminem,
they know.
that's like the ultimate hot topic, you know?
Yeah.
He
Well,
should
they're also
definitely
gonna
have a
look for-
400-pound guy with a gun behind him.
Definitely. Well, also, you know, like he's an older man. You can tell a dude who's like in his 40s riding a bike versus like a random teenager.
Yeah, you see so little of Eminem that I feel like he's such an extreme celebrity that I don't think anybody would think that it was Eminem regardless.
100%.
You know, he's got like a
They'd be like, is that guy about to rob a Kmart or some shit? You know,
or just a
some
wise
Triple Cs
white
or
guy
something.
robbing a bike. Around
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, I don't know. I do think that it is interesting with all the, like the, you know, kind of hiding your identity and stuff. But I feel like if you were to do that in a crowd, it'd be fun for like 2 minutes, and then like somebody would like bump into you, and you'd be like, all right, I'm over. Or like you'd be like, you just want to be like, okay, I'm gonna go back there. There's
Right.
air conditioning backstage or whatever the fuck.
And it is kind of weird to lose your identity in the mask as well.
Yeah.
I've done it where I like had to go to the mall and like buy a present for my girl last minute going to the mall.
Oh, yeah, we've all been there,
and like
yeah.
I didn't want to get recognized or anything, so I threw on the mask and the sunglasses, and I'm in there.
And somebody always is like, Adam?
It's kind of weird because it's like you just don't exist.
Yeah, but
And you look like a total fucking weirdo, especially now where people don't wear masks that much.
dude, I was just in San Francisco last weekend. They still out here. They masked up.
That's a good point. Maybe,
So,
maybe it's on my head.
But it's not as weird to see a mask. I think like it's fine. But like that's like at airports, like the biggest of famous people do masks and like sunglasses and a hoodie, and you're like, who is that? I don't know.
That's a good point.
But yeah, but it's like a little bit. But like maybe in like 7 months from now, people will be like, fuck you doing?
Right.
But
it's weird because like one phenomenon that we've seen is like certain models, like I've seen it happen to the Claremont twins a bunch of times, where they will like get a picture of them in the airport and they're wearing like sweatpants and hoodies and sunglasses.
Yeah.
But you know, they look different than they look in their Instagram photos, because obviously in this day and age, girls Photoshop the fuck out of their Instagram photos.
Huh?
And you know, like it's like this exposed thing of like, look, you don't look exactly the same as you look on Instagram in these incredibly Photoshop pictures where you're wearing tons of makeup and you're styled and everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's kind of a weird standard to hold girls to, but then it's also like kind of drawing light to the weird standard of girls only posting photos of themselves where they look like Barbie dolls.
yeah, I think it's one of those, once you go, you can't go back. Once you do one Photoshop photo that's like super touched up, to throw up another one, you just want to stay consistent. So you're like, I don't want to.
That's why somebody like Tana, as much as I look at her Instagram and I'm like, who the fuck is this in some of these photos? It looks so much not like her. You got to respect it, because she also will go on TikTok or go on YouTube without makeup.
Yeah, or she's not. Yeah. Well, I mean, I saw her post something on her stories like, if you see warped walls in the background, don't come for me. Essentially saying like she's having an editor. Tana's great.
She kind of celebrates it, yeah.
Oh yeah, she's funny and she leans into it. But it's also like, if she wants to look like a bad bitch on the gram, boom, she'll throw it up there. Then all of a sudden you see, you know, it's like, oh, guess what I'm shooting today, and then looks really hot. And then it's like, oh, you know where the link is. It all drives to sales and whatnot.
But you're a young single man in LA, right?
correct. Yeah.
So do you often get that vibe of like meeting somebody and you're like, oh my God, you do not look like your pictures?
Sometimes, yeah. But I think everybody looks a little off from it. Is, I don't know. I was trying to think about that. It's like I do like what you're saying with Tana. It's like I do so many videos that if you don't know what I look like in person, you like it's out there. I don't try to hide anything, you know. But I mean sometimes, but generally, it's never been like too far off. I will say one time I was meeting up with a girl and this was like 3 years ago or something, and I walked past her at the bar. And I was like, hey, I'm here. And she's like, me too. And I was like, oh, where? She's like, I'm at the bar. And I looked and I was like, oh.
Yeah, and when I was single, there would be so many times like that where you're looking at every girl and you're like, is that just some random girl, or is that a chick who I'm meeting up with, but holy fuck, she doesn't look anything like her photos. Please let that not be her.
She was still hot, but it
No, I've
threw
done
me
it where
off.
it was not hot at
Not
all.
hot at
Where
all?
it's like mind blowing. Like, how the fuck did you convince me that you look different than you do?
I think now it's kind of like I feel like everybody does their research a little bit. Like you'll check their photos. Oh, let me see what the tag photos are looking like. It's when like the tag photos are like blocked or hidden, and then like they don't have too many photos, and you're like, all right, this is we're going into this with not a lot of resources. We're just trusting.
Part of you wonders, are those chicks really just thinking that they could get away with this bullshit, or are they almost like fetishizing the vibe of meeting up with a guy and like mini catfishing him? Like, did they like the fact
I don't know.
that they tricked you? Like, aha, my Photoshop skills got you.
That's a great question. I don't know.
Is that a fetish?
I think there's a fetish for everything. Yeah. I think there's just something about like they just like being in control of how their perception is of the world views them. So it's like if you got tagged photos on and your homie Brock posts a photo of you, you got no control over that. But this is just like, I only want to be viewed as these 4 photos that are like approved by me, that touched up by me, they look good. There's that.
It must just feel so weird to live in that prison. Sometimes I've like met girls where you could tell that they're just not used to being viewed in any context besides an Instagram photo. You know?
Yes.
Like even having girls on the podcast where they're so concerned about how they look and they want to see the angle that they're going to be filmed at. And they're just like, you could tell that like the fact that they Photoshop their belly in every single photo they've ever posted, they're like insanely aware of their stomach at all times during the interview, and you can feel it coming off.
Yeah,
of them.
it's fucking insane, and I could. But it's one of those things where it's like you do it once, and then the rest has to fit that standard. And I feel bad that they have to think like that, but it's like I don't know. It's just
I've seen an alarming increase in the number of female guests who come in with their makeup artist on deck to do like the last minute touch ups, and even to like address what they look like on camera, make sure that the camera maybe moves an inch or two.
Yeah. I mean, I think for a show like this is a big show, so there is a lot of like, I want to look good. I want to, I don't know who's watching, and I want to look good for that.
All right, people, we just hit 300,000 subscribers. You know we're trying to hit 400,000 subscribers. So that little red button, tap it, tap in. Appreciate y'all.